The first Pakistani passport holder was not Qaid-e-Azam. It was a man named Leopold Weiss, who was born to a Jewish family in Galicia, which was then part of Austria. He descended from a long line of rabbis, except for his father, who broke tradition and became a lawyer. When he was a young man, his uncle invited him to Jerusalem to spend time with him, and it's there that he started writing for German newspapers as a freelance journalist. Interestingly, his uncle was a close disciple of Sigmund Freud. And what happens next in the story is something you just can't make up. He fell in love with the Arab world and the Islamic civilization. He learned Arabic and he converted to Islam. He then traveled to Mecca for pilgrimage and he became friends with the Saudi king. Later, he traveled to India and became friends with Allama Iqbal, who convinced him to write the first English translation of Sahih Bukhari in history. So Leopold went to Kashmir to write this translation, but the Second World War broke out, and the British went ahead and arrested him because Germany had invaded Austria and he had now become a German citizen, which was at war with the British. Interestingly, he opposed German citizenship. His parents were actually murdered in a Nazi concentration camp. 3 years later, he was released from prison, and he actually helped give his recommendations for the first Pakistani constitution, and he was appointed as the head of the Department of Islamic Reconstruction by Jinnah. He also served at the United Nations at the Pakistan mission, but while he was in New York, he fell in love with an American Polish Muslim lady named Paula, and he had to resign because he couldn't serve in the Pakistan Foreign Service and be married to a foreigner. It was then he wrote his brilliant book called Road to Mecca. And he also delivered a seminal translation of the Holy Quran. What's interesting is that he's not owned by Pakistani conservatives or liberals as a historical figure today, even though there's a space outside the UNO city in Vienna that's named Muhammad Asad Platz in his honor. Now, the reason conservatives don't own him is because he was a rationalist and he championed the rights of women. The reason liberals don't own him is because he tarnishes Jinnah's secular credentials and because he was appointed as the head of the Department of Islamic Reconstruction by Jinnah. What's clear, though, is that Leopold Weiss, or Muhammad Asad, which means lion in Arabic, is an extraordinary Pakistani, and we must celebrate the life of this man who was called Europe's gift to Islam. If we don't share these stories with the world, no one else will.